No, we'll get started.
He's just out.
He's in the hallway.
Oh, is he back now? Okay.
Oh, you're live, Chief.
Sego Sawaguego, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all, to those who are joining us by internet, to our council meeting. Today is Wednesday, April the 16th, and I'll introduce the council members who are present. Councillor Ogwari Brandt, Councillor Linda Lewin, Councillor Chris Miracle, Councillor Aaron Ferranti, Councillor Curtis Brandt, Councillor Chris Brandt, Angela Miracle, the Acting Chief Administrative Officer, Shelley Bowden, the Secretary to the Council, Charles Miracle, my assistant, and I'm Chief Don Miracle. So we will begin in our usual way to a moment of silence to give thanks to the Creator for all that the goodness that He gives us in this life, for all of our food, for our shelter, for the peace that we enjoy in our country, here in our land. We're not plagued with a war, and we ask for the Creator's guidance to make the right decisions to benefit our people that we serve. So now we'll, in our own way, give thanks. No, I'll go. So the long weekend is approaching, so I just wish everybody a happy Easter. Those who will be celebrating the Christian tradition, what Easter means, and then to others who will be engaged in other activities, I wish you a very safe and happy holiday. We have before you the agenda. April 16th, I'll outline what's on the agenda for those who might be joining online. We have the approval of the minutes for April the 2nd, 2025. There'll be a time for any questions from business arising from those minutes. Any meetings outside of the territory will be approved. The council will be approving the schedule of meetings for the months of May and June 2025. There's a request for a meeting with the TTO, the Jejunhut Language Committee. There's a harvesting request from Aidan Blackned and Kieran Wishchi. There's a harvesting request from Anthony Fagiani. There's a land transfer from Bart Thompson to Bonnie Miracle. There's a land transfer from Bonnie Miracle to Bart Thompson. There's a land transfer from Bonnie Miracle to Casey Thompson. There's a land transfer from Casey Thompson to Casey Thompson and Jared Barberstock. There's a land transfer from Bonnie Miracle to Bonnie Miracle and Haley Caron. There's a land transfer from Cassie Thompson to Bonnie Miracle. A land transfer from David and Angela Hill to Madeline Hill. A land transfer from Kaylin Hill to Madeline Hill. There's a land transfer from Marlene Brandt Castellano to Marlene Brandt Castellano and Stephen Castellano. There's a land transfer from Sandra Brandt to Michael Miracle. There's a land transfer from William P. Brandt to William P. Brandt, William M. Brandt, and Drew Brandt. There's our business registration renewals for Chant Enterprises. Registration renewal for Curtis Cleaning Services. There's a business registration for KH Excavation. There's the Iroquois Caucus Economic Study. Post-majority housing feasibility study. Purchase a new tractor for Quinny Mohawk School. There are some legal invoices to pay, Allen Pratt invoices, Hicks Morley invoices, the Jejunhut TTO funding agreement, and the Open LP 2008 funding for the fiscal year 2025-2026. There's the Mohawk immersion agreement over 2025-26. There from housing, there's the arena committee. There's a community meeting on April the 28th, 2025, and is that at 7 p.m.? 7 p.m. till what time? 7 to 9 p.m. There are no add-ons. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda as
Motion,
presented?
Chief.
I'll second.
Aguirre. And Aaron, is anybody opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. We'll have the minutes of April the 2nd, 2025. These are the regular council minutes. So the regular council was held on Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. in the council chambers. I was present. Aguirre was here. Chris Brandt was here. Curtis Brandt was here. Aaron Ferranti was here. Linda Lewin was here, and Chris Miracle. Staff present were Angela Miracle, the acting CEO, Shelley Walden, the executive administrative assistant and recording secretary to the council, and Charles Miracle, the executive assistant to the chief. Motion 1, moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda to adopt the agenda. The motion was carried. Motion 2 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda that the council minutes of March 11th, 2020 be approved. The motion was carried. Motion 3 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis Brandt that the Mohawk Council local business minutes of March 27th, 2025 be approved. The motion was carried. Motion 4 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Chris Miracle that whereas the proposed hydro connection at 35 Ferry Lane was reviewed, and be it resolved that the Mohawk Council representing the Mohawks of Bay of Quinte First Nation at the duly convened meeting of council held on April 2nd and having reviewed the sketch provided by Hydro One Networks Inc. attached hereto as Schedule A in respect of the new or modified connection at 35 Ferry Lane to the electricity distribution system hereby approve the proposed location of the poles, anchors, conductors, and equipment as identified in the sketch on Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Council Resolution 2025-001 was carried and signed. The motion is carried. Motion 5 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Chris Miracle that whereas the proposed hydro connection at 65 Gordons Road was reviewed, be it resolved that the Mohawk Council representing the Mohawks of Bay of Quinte at the duly convened meeting held on April 2nd and having reviewed the sketch provided by Hydro One Networks Inc. attached hereto as Schedule A in respect of the new or modified connection at 65 Gordons Road to the electricity distribution system hereby approve the proposed location of the poles, anchors, and conductors and equipment as identified in the sketch on Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Council Resolution 2526-002 was signed and carried. Motion 6 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis to approve the signing of the letter of permission to harvest in our traditional area for Dillon Point. The motion was carried, and Councillor Aaron Ferranti registered a negative vote because she was opposed due to the time of the year, and that should say a negative. Motion 7 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis Brandt to approve the signing of the letter of permission to harvest in our traditional territory for Jeremiah Point. The motion was carried. Councillor Aaron Ferranti had a negative vote. She was opposed because of the timing of the year. The motion was carried. Motion 8 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis Brandt to approve the signing of the letter of permission to harvest in our traditional harvesting area for Eric Hunter Innes. The motion was carried. Councillor Aaron Ferranti had a negative vote. She was opposed due to the time of the year. Motion 9 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Aguirre to approve the land transfer from Kane Brown and Allison Loft to Allison Loft, the whole of Lot B10, Concession A, Canada Land Survey Record 109667. The motion was carried. Motion 10 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Chris Brandt to approve the land transfer from Darlene Pringle to Jennifer Garrison, the whole of Lot 22L-9 and 22L-10, Concession A, Canada Land Survey Record 75095. The motion was carried. Motion 11 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Aguirre to approve the land transfer from Gussie Lewin Jr. and Leon Gussie Lewin to Erica Brandt, the whole of Lot 30F-5, Concession 2, Revised Statutes of Ontario 5263R. The motion was carried. Councillor Linda Lewin declared a conflict of interest because of a family member and did not vote. Motion 12 was moved by Curtis and seconded by Chase Ogwari Brandt to approve the land transfer from Gussie Lewin Jr. to Erica Brandt, the whole of lot 30F-1-3, concession 2, Canada Land Survey Record 74973. The motion was carried. Motion 13 was moved by Aguirre and seconded by Chris Brandt to approve the land transfer from Hayden Davidson to Juanita Davidson, the whole of lot 33C-5, concession A, Canada Land Survey Record 109164. The motion was carried. Motion 14 was moved by Aguirre and seconded by Aaron to approve the land transfer from Lawrence Zachariah to David Green, the whole of lot 16C-18, concession 2, revised statutes of Ontario 6422R. The motion was carried. Motion 15 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Curtis to approve the land transfer from Wilma Brinklow to Amy Boomhauer, the whole of lot 26G-1, concession A, Canada Land Survey Record 95519, and the whole of lot 27-5-3, concession A, Canada Land Survey Record 6977R. The motion was carried. Motion 16 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Aaron Ferrante to approve the business registration renewal for Kentagi Seed Sanctuary. The motion was carried. Motion 17 was moved by Aaron Ferrante, seconded by Chris Brandt, to approve the Indigenous Services Canada funding agreement number 2122-ON-27, and amendment number 0092 for the Head Start additional funding of $683,191, and the First Nations Child and Family Services for $1,233,676, and amendment number 93 for prevention projects, family violence, $44,577.47, and amendment 94 for the long-term care, assisted living, institutional care, $6,499.94. The motion was carried. Motion 18 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Curtis to approve to pay Derek Bond invoice number 869 in the amount of $12,600 and $870 in the amount of $28 regarding economic development. Chris Miracle had a negative vote, as he noted that there's no work budget or work plan for the work that Derek is doing. Motion 19 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda to approve to pay Gary Beveridge invoice in the amount of $1,225 regarding the economic development, and the motion was carried. Motion 20 was moved by Aaron Ferrante and seconded by Aguirre to approve to pay Miller Thompson invoices number 4094317 in the amount of $6,188.30, and invoice number 4101779 in the amount of $5,468.50 for corporate matters, and invoice number 4101785 in the amount of $552 for economic development. The motion was carried. Motion 21 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Curtis to approve the signing of the Ontario Health Funding Agreement in the amount of $12,500 to provide bereavement services to the community and individuals for April to June 2025. The motion was carried. Motion 22 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda to approve appointing Wilkinson Company as the auditors for the Mohawk Survey Committee for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. The motion was carried. Motion 23 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Curtis Brandt to acknowledge the Bank of Montreal mortgage loan report. The motion was carried. Motion 24 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Chase Ogori to approve Chijunhet Ogowona funding agreement for 24-25. The motion was carried. Motion 25 was moved by Aaron Ferrante and seconded by Aguirre that the Mohawk Council approves to utilize OpenLP 2008 funds under cultural development in the amount of $375,000 for the Mohawk language cultural programs for the year 2024-25 school year. Mohawk Council Resolution 25-26-03 was carried. Motion 26 was moved by Aaron Ferrante and seconded by Chris Brandt to approve to place the two tiny homes at 56655 Old Highway 2, former Davis property in Shannonville, as this is the most cost-effective location, and approve the total project budget in the amount of $248,320. And this is west of where the former Helen Redmond House is. It's west of there. Motion 27 was moved by Curtis Brandt and seconded by Aaron Ferranti to approve the 2025-26 MBQ insurance premium in the amount of $4,827,000. What's
I
that?
think it's 827,000.
Yeah, that four is supposed to be dollar sign.
It's, what should the number be, Shelley? Okay, correct the amount, then it's $8,827. Okay. So it's $827,726 for the insurance. The motion was carried. Motion 28 was moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda Lewin to approve to pay the Hicks Morley invoice 822145 in the amount of $4,640 regarding human resources. The motion was carried. Motion 29 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Linda Lewin to approve to schedule the interviews for the executive director for the Economic Development Commission on April 19th, 2025 at 9 a.m. The motion was carried. Motion 30 was moved by Chase O'Gorry Brandt and seconded by Aaron to approve the signing of the Aboriginal Labor Force Development Circle funding agreement with the ESCA of Mohawk Child Center in the amount of $106,640.
It's
The motion-
actually $420. It's
What-
106,420.
106,420?
Yeah.
We note that correction then, please. So the amount will be $1,006,420. The motion is carried. Moved by Aaron and seconded by Linda Lewin to approve to have a lunch and learn with Good Minds program regarding understanding mental health and addictions on April 16th. The motion was carried. Motion 32 was moved by Agwari, seconded by Aaron to approve scheduling a Mohawk Golf Board meeting on April 16th at 5 p.m. Motion was carried. Motion 33 was moved by Aaron Ferranti, seconded by Chris Brandt to approve Chief Miracle request funding from Indigenous Services Canada for damages due to the ice storm March, capital M on March 2025. The motion was carried, and there's a proposal has been submitted to Sunil Bajaj at Indigenous Services Canada for $61,050. The motion was carried. We should get an answer back this week. Council confirmed the following meetings: April 8th, 2025, local business; April 16th, Mohawk Rigger Council; April 23rd, local business; April 28th, community meeting. So just note in there that 7 to 9 p.m. Motion 34 was moved by Aaron Ferranti and seconded by Linda that this meeting go into private at 11:25 a.m. The motion was carried. Are there any errors, omissions to the minutes that have not already been discussed?
Chief, are you still having local business on April 23rd? Okay, that's canceled? Oh, okay.
Is there a motion then to accept the minutes as corrected?
I'll motion to.
Linda,
I'll second, Chief.
Agwari, is anybody opposed?
No.
Anyone
No,
opposed?
Chief.
Seeing none,
No.
the motion's carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes?
No.
Okay, none? Meetings outside of the territory. So we have the lobby session with the department on April the 22nd in Toronto. So who's attending that meeting?
Yes, I am, Chief.
Linda,
I am Chief. Yeah.
I'll be going. Any other council members available to attend?
Might be able to, chief.
Aguirre? So then note for the minutes and Aguirre's possibility, Linda for sure, me for sure, Curtis for sure, Chris is not available, Chris Miracle's not available. You're,
Not available.
Aaron's not available, Chris?
Probably.
Probably, okay. So that'll be tentative then, right? You let us know? Okay.
And then mine is just from the 23rd to the 24th, chief. I'm at the ASAB meeting in Niagara Falls,
Okay. Just hold on here.
and that was already approved.
Time's 27, chief.
9:30.
9:30?
9:30 till noon.
9:30 till noon. So we'll be doing some follow-up on so just to review where we're at with that. So the department did agree to provide $350,000 to design an apartment building. Then Kyle sent an update for the meeting then. So there's $1,018,253,000 that relates to the Tyendinaga water treatment plant and water supply, phase 2. That's there'll be a pay at year end. Transfer its completed finance to process the release in 2025-26. Mohawk Survey Clinic for $101,381, and this relates to the fire hall build. Mohawk Survey Clinic $2,568,962. This relates to the capital construction of the fire hall, and then that'll be done at $2,568,962 will be a pay at year-end transfers and will be paid in 2025-26. There's $540,839 to CS for the water main project extension, 4 areas. So that will be paid out. So that total is $4,128,054. And the cost overrun for the sewage lift station, there's money available in surplus available in 21-22 ISK budget, none for 22-23, and so Todd has to send the invoices for the sewage lift station to Kyle Weir, which he will be doing. Then they'll look at what they can do with it. Kyle's pretty sure they can cover it, the deficit there. So that's over $1 million. So with all of that, it's close to $6 million. Our lobby session has. But what we should do, Angela, if there's any other deficits from the audit that relate to ISK programs,
We don't have that yet, though, chief. Right now, we're still trying to,
no, we do.
no, we have until the end of
21-22.
February.
21-22 fiscal year.
Oh, I know, they said that they had money then, but we can't give you final numbers because we're not
Yeah,
to
but-
that point yet.
Well, that's for 23. What for 21-22 fiscal year, the
Why
audit,
are we going back to 21?
because they have money.
So you want us to go back to 21-22 fiscal year?
So
Okay.
all we should be able to do is look at the council resolutions that council, where they took it out of open LP. It should identify what deficits were being paid from open LP. If any of those relate to ISK programs, we will send that over and put it on our agenda for discussion with the department on the 22nd. Because I think what was happening here, everybody was just going to open LP without actually going back to the department for deficit recovery. So just check it out. If that's the case, then might be able to make a case for that, because there is some money there in that fiscal year that's not spent with the department. And so we need to get these deficits identified soon, because otherwise the money will be all spent from any surpluses that are there, because they're getting rid of that money. Okay, so that's pretty much the update on that. And so lobbying does pay off. And so the fire hall will be covered, and so that I hope that we can, is there any information, Angela, whether we can pay that loan off when that money comes in?
Yeah, we talked to the bank, and once all the money comes in, we can pay it off, but there will be a penalty of over $12,000. But we are talking to the bank to see if we can get that waived. We don't have a response yet, but we are asking.
Because we can save ourselves a considerable amount of interest.
I know, but
To
we'll
pay
still
that.
have to pay a penalty because we're paying it off early. But we're
If-
asking.
If Ian says we have to pay a penalty, let me know. I'll see if I can work my magic.
Right now, we've already got our request in. We are already handling it. We've put it in, but if we get a no answer, we'll let you know so you can lobby.
And the issue was, we were told by our capital management officer that the department didn't fund her parallels. I said, well, then how can they fund one in Frog Lake and other places and not here? So what they said, they don't do that in the Ontario region, is what we were told at the time, which made no sense to me. I wrote letters about it actually to the
So-
minister.
Are we going?
And so
to
that
be-
was it. That was incorrect information.
Right, and that's great, and we got the money, so that's great for that. But what about regular operation and maintenance? Because every year we're having deficits, and every year
So what we need to
we're
do,
short money
what,
just
what,
to
what,
operate.
what I need to carry out an effective lobby is, what is the amount of the deficit? Why is there a deficit?
Because they don't give us enough money.
Yeah, but we can't just say we spend more money than we get. I mean, there's a reason. What are we spending the money on?
So correct me if I'm wrong, was that not when, if you increased your building size, that they give you more operating
Yeah,
and maintenance money?
but that should
Well,
be-
how come they haven't yet?
But that should be picked up when we do our acres report. And so if the acres report is being done on time, then they make those adjustments based on the information that comes from MBQ.
So it hasn't been done on time.
I don't know. Who's responsible for acres, Angela? Is that Todd, or is that
I would say Todd.
Todd and Tom,
Todd's
maybe?
area. Todd's
Just
area.
check it out to see where, they usually send it in. I know they do.
Well, they're working on the acres
Okay,
right now.
so,
Yeah.
so,
I know
so,
that they're doing an exercise.
okay,
with the
just
acres.
have them review it to make sure we did get adjustments for based on the acre submission
For
report.
the fire hall. Sorry.
But
You're
any of
giving
our,
me all sorts of things. I'm only
like
writing.
any of our capital assets that we are funded by ISK.
That
So,
we upgrade. Yes.
so that would be the wellness building, because health programs are ISK, they're funded from there. All of the most of the programs in this office
I haven't
are
finished the last thought.
ISK programs. Well, just come and see me.
Are we getting more funds for buildings? Oh, okay, under acres. Thanks.
So anyways, ISK programs are, like, there's lands, there's membership, there's the infrastructure, there's housing, they're all MBQ programs. So they're run from this building. If we're incurring a deficit, then make sure that as long as our acres is up to date with it, because the square footage of this building is already been identified previously, that we didn't
This is not
change.
up to date. That's why they're doing it right now.
So then the reason why we have deficits then is, I just need staff to articulate in each of the
Yeah, But I'm
areas.
just saying that, don't forget, we're in the, right now in acres, like we're doing that exercise right now,
Yeah.
so they're not up to date yet. Right? My understanding is
Yeah.
that they're doing that acres
They're doing
exercise
it.
right now.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So we will
But
carry,
we can-
so if there's any deficits in 21, 22 for IS programs, let me know and I'll talk to Kyle.
yep, I got that one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So apart from the 22nd then, is there any other meetings? Do you have any other meetings, Chris? Outside the chair, Curtis?
Yes, we're in Akwesasne, chief.
We've already been approved for that, right, Shelley?
I believe so, yeah.
When
Okay,
is
Aaron,
that
do you have
one?
any meetings?
23rd and
Nothing extra.
24th.
Oh, yeah, that's you guys.
Okay,
going.
are you,
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any meetings? Linda?
Yes, but don't forget about the one on the 23rd and the 24th, but there's also another meeting outside the territory, Chief, for you and I, for the AFL-DC board meeting, which will be June 3rd and 4th in Niagara Falls.
Like, I'm not a board member of it.
Well, I'm just telling you.
So do they want me to go then?
Well, that's what I thought Darla said.
All right, then I guess I can attend if maybe they
But
need
I'll
somebody.
double check with Darla. And then what about the OCCOH meeting that's supposed to be happening in Toronto, April 29th to May 1st? Who does that one?
Yeah,
So
that's the Chiefs Committee at CCOH. Is it the Chiefs Committee on Housing or the Chiefs Committee on Health? I'm on both.
Housing and infrastructure usually says HI, doesn't it? CCOH is usually health.
Yeah. Is it health or is it housing? Okay, then I'll be attending that.
I will be too.
On the Chiefs Committee on Health.
You're not a member of the Chiefs Committee on Health?
Oh, no, but I just heard the health.
Okay. Okay,
Don't know
so
what
then
I'm
I
doing.
guess
I'm just going to that one on.
that was,
the
what
3rd.
day was that? June, Charlie? What day, June? So it's on the agenda.
Yeah, I just seen it pop up here.
Okay.
Wednesday to Friday.
So then I guess we'll need motions then for Linda for the 23rd and 24th and mine for the 29th and the 1st of
And
May.
that
which is
23rd,
May.
24th was already approved, Chief? That was-
Motion.
I think so.
So it's just chief for you.
So you're meeting
for
on
her?
the,
And yes, for both.
yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah, yeah. That's weird.
We already did.
So
It's just the OCCOH meeting in Toronto, April 29th
And
and May
that's just for
1st
the
for chief.
okay.
And your meeting was, you mentioned the 23rd and 24th, you're
Yeah,
going.
that's the one for the, Saab.
Does Linda have approval for that already? You already approved for that?
Yes.
So it's moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Chris Brandt.
If I say no, you think there's no good transport. Let me know.
Okay, anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
He's making it tougher. Trying to.
This next one's gonna be fun. So many meetings going on. I'm not sure how you're gonna- Let's look at your other council meeting then.
Okay, the council meetings. Take out your calendars, please. Everybody take out your calendars. Do you have your calendar on your computer there, Chris?
I retired, chief.
Hmm?
I retired.
Retired?
Yeah, you just put a date down and I'll be there.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, great.
It's just he doesn't have to do fish.
Okay,
Yes, I'm gonna start fishing.
I don't have my,
Okay.
so May the 7th is the regular council day. Has anybody got a problem with that? Anybody have a conflict with that date? Seeing none, so it'll be May the 7th. What about the 21st? Anybody have a conflict with that date? Okay, that date is good then. Local business, May the 14th. So there's an MTO MVQ Highway Working Group meeting at 1 o'clock that day. At 4 o'clock, we have the Deserona Water Board meeting.
Mhm.
And so at 7 p.m., is everybody good with that then on the 14th? That day will work then. Go to the 28th of May. That'll be regular local business. Anybody have a problem with that date?
we,
28th at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. And June 9:30.
June is gonna get really difficult because there's the ALFEC meeting in Niagara Falls, Linda and Chief will be attending on the 3rd and 4th. The following week, the week of the 9th, the AIAI AGA is in Oneida.
Oneida, yeah.
Chief has to be there for the 9th, everybody else the 10th, 11th, 12th. The following week, the week of the 16th, is the Chiefs of Ontario AGA in Hiawatha.
Yeah.
And it's the 17th to the 19th. And then, yeah, the OFNLP meeting for the chief is on the 20th.
So we'll
Just-
have to have the council meetings, I guess, in the morning on the Mondays then. So let's go back to the first day in June then. What's the first day? The Monday?
Yeah.
Everybody good for the second?
Yep. It's either Monday or Friday, so I suggest not Fridays.
June the 2nd then will be and the next day will be the 16th? And the local business?
Can we do them the same days?
Well, we're going to have to.
Because the rest of the month is kind of crazy.
And there may not be anybody scheduled either. We don't know yet. Let's do it right after the council meeting. Let's find out. You try to,
Same days then?
We'll have to do it the same day.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the 26th then, so we'll do, if need be, on the 2nd. Which one is at Hiawatha?
The 17th and 19th, chief, isn't it?
So let's do the 16th then for local business then, because at Hiawatha is not that far.
Fine by me.
So the second and.
So the regular will be on June the 2nd and 16th at 9:30. The local business will be June 16th and 26th at 7 p.m.
25th?
25th.
25th, not 26th.
25th?
Just like the 16th.
16th and 25th.
Wait,
So the 16th and 25th.
oh, 16th
For local, right?
Local.
Mm-hmm.
And not the 2nd.
Is there a motion to approve those dates?
I'll motion.
Aaron?
I'll second that.
And Shelley will send you the invite, so you just need to click on that you accept.
Don't write it in your own calendar, chief.
The motion is carried, because sometimes I was putting it in my calendar as what's being done, then it messes up her system, so let's not do that.
Sends it to everybody.
All of us. We're double booked.
There's a request for a meeting from the Tyendinaga board members, Karen Lewis, Jan Hill, and request a meeting with council outside regular scheduled MBQ council meetings to discuss Ganyo Geha revitalization in our community. So it'll have to be sometime in May. Can it be after the council meeting? Chris?
Chief, why can't it just be put on a council
I don't
agenda?
know. Maybe it's visioning. I don't know what it is. They just requested a private meeting.
But we can do,
Private during the day, during council.
So I would say when we're on regular council day, but they don't want to be part of any regular meeting. So I don't know what it is they want to discuss with the council.
Revitalization.
Revitalization.
Language revitalization.
but we're all together those days on council, so can we just carve out a chunk of time in private to do, like at the end of the agenda? Or
I'd be fine with that.
at the beginning? Sorry, I guess that probably makes more sense, doesn't it?
Well, maybe after, if we could sort of just stick to our, if we stick to, we can get a lot of this done, because a lot of it just like formal approval required
Fine
from
by
council
me.
for land transfers and business renewals.
So which day then?
Well, propose one of the dates, Shelley, and maybe at, let's say at 3 o'clock or something, regular council day, or 2 o'clock.
2.
That'll just be an off-the-record discussion. Okay?
Off the record? Why?
Well, I don't know what it is they want to talk to us about for this stage, so I don't know. We can ask them why when they get here. I didn't receive the call.
I'm fine with that.
But if there's any decisions made, then they do have to go in council minutes.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to suggest, Angela, is we should look at with this 4-pillar society funding, language, heritage is part of what that can be
No, but
spent
we
on.
need to have a community plan. It's
Yeah.
what the community wants, not what you want.
Yeah.
It has to go out to the community, so we're already completing the paperwork and all that stuff to get the funding in, where instead of going with the consultant, or bringing someone in, we want to have someone come in to do the community consultation with everybody to get what it is that they want to do under those 4 pillars. And that's what we'll use to guide using the funding for.
Beautiful.
It's very clear in their documents what the funding's for.
But
and that
it-
it has to, like, you can't even proceed with spending the money until you have a community plan.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not
to
saying-
involve the community anyway in a meeting would be a good idea.
But there are
And it's
certain
not just the
categories.
community, it's the membership, right? It's all
But
members.
it has to fall within those categories of
Yes.
funding. It's not just anything and
No,
anything
there's
goes.
those categories. It's very clear in the categories, but it does, you can't spend the funds unless you have a community plan.
And so are you going to hire a consultant to do that?
No, we're gonna hire a staff person, or not a staff person, we're gonna hire somebody to do that.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have them start working on a comprehensive community plan after that.
Nice.
That's the goal.
Beautiful.
And so this, you'll just make a motion to give them a time after one of the council meetings.
I'll motion.
No second.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. There is a harvesting application for Aiden Blackned and Kieran Wishchi. Is there a motion to approve this hunting request?
Motion, Chief.
Second it, Chief.
Move to sign the approval to sign these letters to give them granting permission to hunt. The motion is carried. There is a request to harvest from Anthony Mario Fagiani. Anthony Mario Fagiani has contacted Mohawk McQuinney and requested permission to harvest in our area in 2025. Anthony Mario Fagiani is a member of the Onondaga Clear Sky Six Nations of the Grand River First Nation. He has requested for permission to fish walleye and pike in Shannonville area, and copy of his status card is attached to this briefing note. His status card has not expired. A letter of permission is attached with a signature by Chief Miracle.
I'll allow motion, Chief.
The other thing I think the council should, because the Salmon River is used for community harvest, it's not for commercial. So do we need to specify that in the letter? It's for personal use, for personal consumption.
So that means you can only get 4?
Well, I mean, you can't take it out by the truckloads.
But, yeah, it's, you can, yeah, we can bring it up, but it doesn't really matter.
Because there's been conflict there over that kind of thing with our own members, over people taking too much fish and then not having their turn. Well, some just want to barge in ahead of other people, and that they don't want to wait their turn. But usually
They don't do that anymore up there. It's all, they all regulate it amongst themselves. They've been doing it over the last however many years. And they're pretty, they're pretty respectful of each other and waiting their turns and stuff too.
Well, just a couple of years ago, we did have complaints from our members that were about that kind of thing happening there. And the other thing that some of the members complained about and came to see me about was that a very elderly band member, her property rights were being totally disrespected. They would take vehicles in there, rut up their property, not let them know that people were around, strangers around at night. And so there's a lot to manage. And so there was a lot of concern. And then this member was in her 90s. And they were totally disrespecting her property, not even asking if they could go there. And so she felt very disrespected in terms of her rights. And
Where
so,
was that?
so there were complaints.
On the south side. But on the south
And the
side,
other
it's,
thing that they had, the other thing is that people were taking stolen cars down in there and leaving them there. And of course, they had the expense of removing all that stuff and cleaning up and repairing their fences and gates and stuff. It was just anything goes and away you go. If you knock the gate down, we'll just leave it laying, and as long as you got your fish, you're happy. But it just, this kind of stuff has went on here, and it's been a complaint to the council and the police. Chris?
My apologies for not being well versed. You say that they're policing it up there? Who's they? Like community members?
They don't, I never mentioned policing, but just the members
Well-
themselves. There is, when they're taking a turn, there is the way that they do it. And it's always been year after year after year. You
Yeah.
bring your spear.
Yeah, I know
you
that.
Put your spear but everybody does, watch each other and knowing that it's their run next because their spear is next in line.
Okay, so hypothetically, someone from another community could potentially, when we authorize them, could they potentially put a gill net right across at the park?
I don't think they could.
But hypothetically, could they? And no one would say nothing.
Well, no.
No.
The members would go and take the gill net.
Yeah,
out.
the
They
gill
wouldn't
nets have been
allow them
removed
to do
in
that.
And we have a game warden up there. I
There's
hear
no
he's
netting
doing
in the
very
river.
well.
But you don't.
We,
you don't
they're
force
actually
that.
not game wardens. We don't have game wardens. What we have are the fish through Megan Murphy, the guys that are taking care of milking the fish. So that's all MBQ or the council has up to there. We've never had game wardens.
I know, but that's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
That's
they're
all I'm saying.
harvest, yeah. But they're actually, they're not harvesters, they're milkers, so
Sure.
they're actually putting back.
Yeah, yeah. But
into
I mean,
into-
the chief, the council, the community, we used to get 4. Remember, you could go 4 fish.
Yeah.
That's all gone out the window.
No, that's all gone, yeah.
So we have nothing internally regarding dictating what anybody
No,
can do.
because, and you know
Okay.
what, we also.
I'm not saying it's okay. I just
Yeah.
up to speed.
Well, anyway, the family was very upset about it, particularly with the disrespect shown to that elder. So anyway, I guess if you can take as much as you want, well, I guess if that's the way it is, then I guess that's the way it is. But to me, I think it's
It
not.
is
it's
the
not-
way it is, and it's been like that for a few years. Guys that are gill netting from here. Yeah, I'm sad to say that they are selling those fish, but I've talked with the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Oceans and Fisheries, and they don't see the gill netting or the spearing as a problem.
Yeah. So anyway, the council did pass a resolution. I think it's still on the books that there can be no netting in the river.
I don't think there is any netting
'Cause we have-
across the rivers. So, like the community members, the guys that do gill net, they watch
bay.
each other in the bay, and there's a certain way that they do it. They don't net perpendicular to or parallel to any shoreline. They go perpendicular to the shorelines, so that allows the fish still to come into the shorelines.
Yeah, but-
Nobody gill nets across any rivers, but I do know that there have been outsiders coming to Belleville to set gill nets across the mouth of the Moira River, and those gill nets were taken out by our community members.
Okay. Anyway, the concern, I guess, that I heard about was the disrespect for the person's property with vehicles going on private, on CP land and not respecting the rights of the owner. And the other thing was there had been some conflict at the river about people not waiting their turn. And so that's all I've heard about, but I've not heard anything about the gill nets in the bay at all. Okay, so I guess does council approve this application then for this Anthony Mario Gianni to harvest in the Shanville River?
Yes, I've already.
Chris Brandt? Is there a seconder? And I'm not saying this is not the person that was at issue with the lack of respect. This is a different community.
This person here is actually coming to council to get approval to do it the right way, whereas you have tens and tens or whatever, like handfuls and handfuls of other people from other reserves coming and just spearing and whatever without permission. Well, anyway, this guy is asking for permission, so I'll grant it to him.
I'll second, Chief.
Linda?
Because I agree with you, Chris. At least he asked for permission, because I know that there's guys from Six Nations that are going into Napanee and pushing their way in.
Yes.
And actually, it's good that they go to the different rivers because then it doesn't put the strain all on one source, one location.
Yeah, they're, Six Nation guys are going into Trenton. Quite often they go into Valville.
Okay.
But anyway.
So Aguari mentioned he has to leave at 11:45. It's now 11:45. So we will then break for lunch.
Sure.
Okay? We'll break for 1 hour for lunch.
Well, you have your lunch
Oh,
alert
from
at
till 1
12.
o'clock. We'll resume at 1 o'clock.
You have your lunch alert.
So if
I'll stick
anybody
around.
join at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.
You can stick around till 12, he said.
Well, then, so we have a land transfer.
15 minutes.
15 minutes, that's good. We can do a whole bunch still.
Okay,
Land
just
transfer.
follow my lead. Don't become distracted. Land transfer.
Listen to yourself.
A land transfer for the whole of Lot 27C-12, Concession 1, Canadaland Surveyor Record 113838 from Evan Thompson to Bonnie Miracle. Does council approve?
Moved.
Chris Miracle. Ogar, you're
I
second.
seconded that, Chief.
Remember, you have to speak into the mic so people can hear if they're listening.
They all know that at the same time.
That motion is carried. We have a land transfer with the lot 27C-15 and lot 27C-18, concession 1, Canadaland Survey Record 113838 from Bonnie Marie Miracle to Evan Thompson. Does council approve?
I'll move. Sorry.
Moved by Chris Miracle. Who will second it? Who
I'll
second?
second it, Chief.
Ogbari? Anyone opposed? The motion is carried. There's a land transfer for the whole of lot 27C-17 and lot 27C-20, concession 1, Canadaland Survey Record 113838 from Bonnie Marie Miracle to Casey Lane Thompson. Does council approve?
I'll
Will-
motion.
Moved by Aaron, who'll second it.
I'll second, Chief.
Linda? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
Aaron and,
Thanks.
I got that, I got it.
No, I just asked.
There's a land transfer for the lot 27C-17 and lot 27C-20, concession 1, Canadaland Survey Record 113838 from Casey Lane Thompson to Jared William Barberstock and Casey Lane Thompson as joint tenants. Does council approve? Will move?
I'll
Motion.
move.
Aaron and Linda. Anyone opposed? Opposed, seeing none, the motion is carried. There's a land transfer from lot 27C-16 and lot 27C-19, concession 1, Canadaland Survey Record 113838 from Bonnie Marie Miracle to Haley Rihanna, Caron, and Bonnie Marie Miracle as joint tenants. Does council approve? Who will move?
I'll move.
Oguari, who will second it?
I'll second.
Aaron. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. There's a land transfer from lot 27C-13, concession 1, Candaland Survey Record 113838 from Casey Lane Thompson to Bonnie Marie Miracle. Does council approve?
Motion.
Moved by Aaron, will second it.
I'll second, Chief.
Ogari. The motion is carried. There's a land transfer, the lot 27B-6, concession 1, Candaland Survey Record 113838 from David Bradley Hill and Angela Darlene Hill to Madeline Marie Hill. Does council approve?
Move, Chief.
Chris Miracle
Second.
and Linda. The motion is carried. There's a land transfer of lot 27B-5, concession 1, Canada Land Survey Record 113838 from Kane Bradley Hill to Madeline Marie Hill. Does council approve? Will move.
Motion.
Aaron?
Second, Chief.
Aaron and Curtis. Is anyone opposed? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Land transfer of the whole of lot 8A-1-4, concession 2, Candaland Survey Record 74719 from Marlene June Brandt Castellano to Stephen Richard Castellano and Marlene June Brandt Castellano as joint tenants. Does council approve? Who will move?
Motion.
Aaron,
I'll second, Chief.
Chris Miracle. Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is carried. There is a land transfer of lots 27A-3-2, 27A-4-3, and 27A-7, concession 1 from Sandra Janice May Brandt to Michael Paul Miracle. Does council approve? Who will move?
I'll move, Chief.
Is
I'll
there
second.
Curtis? Moved by Chris Miracle and second by Curtis. Is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. There is a land transfer of lot 10A-5, concession 2, Canadaland Survey Record 76100 from William Perry Brandt to William Perry Brandt, William Matthew Ross Brandt, and Drew Lauren Brandt as joint tenants. Does council approve? Who will move?
I'll move, Chief.
Linda, is there a seconder?
I'll second, Chief.
Ogwari? Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is carried. Business registration renewal for Chant Enterprises, Inc., The owner is Penny Choma. It's a consulting business. No inspections required, no insurance required. Does council approve this business registration?
I'll motion.
I'll second, Chief.
Aaron and Chris Brandt.
Conflict, chief.
So Curtis is conflict of interest relative. Okay, anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. There is a business registration for Curtis Cleaning Services, residential commercial cleaning. Brittany Curtis is the owner. No inspection, no requirement, no insurance.
I'll motion, chief.
Moved by Chris Brandt. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Aaron. The motion is carried. There's a new business registration for Craig Handley, KH Excavation and Consulting, administration only, excavation done on work sites only, insurance is on file. Does council approve?
I'll motion, chief.
Second.
Okay, we'll then break then. For lunch, and you'll be back at 1 or right a little after, Barry?
I'll try to be back as quick as I can.
Okay then. So we'll break for the mental health discussion then. So I'd like to thank everybody that's joining us online. We're now going to break for 1 hour for lunch. So reconnect at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much. We're on now? Okay. Good afternoon. It is now 1:57 PM on April the 16th, and we are now resuming council meeting from our lunch break and our presentation from Good Minds over lunch hour. So we're back in session now. And the next item on the agenda is item number 22, the Iroquois Caucus Economic Study. So the Iroquois Caucus is looking to see if council supports to submit an application for funding to conduct an economic study across the 6 caucus communities. And that would be Oneida, Six Nations, Tyendinaga, Akwesasne, Ganawagi, and Ganasadagi. And so the Iroquois has developed the Iroquois Caucus Nation-to-Nation Trade Commerce Protocol Agreement, whereby the caucus communities have jointly agreed to identify trade opportunities, assets, and resources to create an atmosphere to facilitate an open trade process. The protocol also supports undertaking research to identify goods, services, commerce, labor needs, and other activities to support trade and commerce between our communities. While the protocol was originally signed in 2015, there's been little movement to support its implementation. As we see the tariff wars happening between the United States and several countries, including Canada, beginning to impact economic markets, the Iroquois Caucus Trade and Commerce Protocol Agreement is being examined for update and implementation in alignment with the reignited desire to implement the Iroquois Caucus Trade and Commerce Protocol Agreement. There is an opportunity to apply for funding from the Aboriginal Impact Capital and Two Rivers Community Development and other streams to pursue funds for the study. In preliminary conversation with Two Rivers and Aboriginal Impact Capital, there is interest in working together. The Iroquois Caucus Economic Study would work with each Iroquois Caucus community to deliver a community-wide survey that would seek to understand community-specific economic leakage, community businesses available, gaps for potential new businesses or business expansion, impacts of tariffs and political barriers, understanding community supply chain, identify procurement opportunities. The data from the survey will help identify opportunities where the Iroquois Trade and Commerce Protocol Agreement can be implemented. An economic trade network can be solidified, and an Iroquois Caucus working group would be established with representatives from each of the community guiding the development of the study. One common survey would be delivered in each community. The funding would assist in hiring a community project lead who will be in the community liaison for delivering the survey, answering questions, and begin the main community contact. In alignment with OCAP principles, the data that's ownership, control, access, and possession, the data collected from each of the communities will belong to the community for their community use. However, a data sharing agreement will be initiated so the Iroquois Caucus can use the data collectively to identify community connections and opportunities to implement the Trade and Commerce Protocol Agreement. As this is a preliminary concept, it would be helpful to understand the community's willingness to partner on a study and for the Iroquois Caucus to pursue funding opportunities to conduct the study. The recommendation: present this briefing note to your council decision-making table for consideration and decision on whether there is support for the Iroquois Caucus to pursue funding to conduct the economic study and that your community would participate in the study. Decision: is your council willing to participate in the Iroquois Caucus economic study? And does your council support IC pursuing funding to conduct the study? So there's just 2 questions there. Let's deal with number 1. Is the council willing to participate in this Iroquois Caucus economic study? Is there anybody who would be opposed? Chris?
No.
Curtis?
No.
Aaron? Chris?
That's all right.
I'm so what the cost would be to the community.
Well, I think they're going to apply for a grant. As far as no cost been identified, but we can make sure we note that, Shu, if is a contribution would be, but I guess the idea of conducting a study.
I'm agreeable.
Okay, and the other thing I might suggest, they might want to apply to the Grand River Enterprises as well for this kind of study, Shu, as well as the other 2.
updated.
Oh, there's
So
more?
that's all
Oh.
fine, what you read, the economic development part, but then, Shute updated it to add in the IC trade protocol agreement. So it's in the drive too,
Okay, thank you.
and this is the new agenda sheet.
This is what's already been signed, right?
Is that, no,
You have to read the agenda sheet.
yeah, and if you read that new agenda sheet I just gave you,
What you have is the IC protocol agreement. It's revised, but it was originally signed in 2015.
And so this document that was just put in front of us, this has changed? It's been since the 2015 version?
Right, there's one clause that's
So what?
been added, and that clause is basically historical placement clause. The other thing that has changed is the term government changed to a council.
Okay,
Instead of elected government, it says
Alright.
elected council. Watch has been removed, obviously,
Yeah.
and that's it, really. They're highlighted if it printed in color.
and so where's the wording for the clause that was changed? Which article is
Is
it?
it the highlighted
Is it
part?
highlighted?
It says, whereas the
Mine
Haudenosaunee
is not highlighted.